From Dolphins Soccer Park on the campus of the College of Staten Island, CSI Sportsnet is proud to welcome you into coverage of East Coast Conference Women's Soccer. In today's conference matchup, the College of Staten Island Dolphins take on the Lincoln University Lions. Good morning, everybody. My name is Joe Foreman, joined on the call by my broadcast partner, Aaron Cohen. And Aaron, it's just about that time of year. 3 conference games left for the Dolphins. They host the Lions here at home today. Playoff positioning on the line. The Dolphins looking for a big victory in conference play today, what would be their second straight.
Yeah, big implications. And a beatable opponent here for Lincoln, and a chance to put themselves in a very favorable situation going forwards. After this game against Lincoln, they have D'Youville and Malloy as their last 2 conference matchups. Both of those games are going to be close. They're going to be winnable. But this is something that will really put them in a place to at least secure that 6th playoff spot in the new expanded playoff format. St. Thomas Aquinas and Queens, those are the 2 teams with whom the Dolphins are currently tied for that 6th place position. Those 2 teams play each other today. So really any result there is favorable for CSI. So a lot of reasons to believe that despite the less than favorable 1-3-1 conference record so far, that they're right where they wanted to be, which is playoff contention.
Well, if you're the Dolphins right now, you control your own destiny. If you win out, you're in the playoffs, and they have a matchup today against a Lincoln team that they've had quite a bit of success against in the past. But before we talk about that, I'd be remiss if I did not mention, Aaron, this is the McDonald's pregame show. McDonald's brings you our pregame show each and every home game here at the College of Staten Island. McDonald's, of course, our scoreboard sponsor. We might get a chance to hear a bit more from them in the form of some pregame meals come basketball season. So I have that to look forward to. I famously ate a Big Mac on camera last season. We also had some refreshments courtesy of McDonald's during the season as well. We absolutely are looking forward to that. Aaron is grinning ear to ear right now. I think Tyler is excited about it too. So we look forward to that come basketball season. But as I mentioned, Aaron, this Dolphins team has had success in the past against Lincoln University. A couple of years back, they faced the Lions here at home. They won that game 2-1. They faced the Lions last year and won by a final score of 4-1. So if you're the Dolphins, you have to have a great deal of confidence entering today's game against Lincoln. Of course, you know head coach Alex Mendolia looking for his team to take care of business. You had a chance to speak with the Dolphins head coach ahead of today's game. Give us some of the information from your conversation with Coach Mendolia.
Yeah, happy to. So Mendolia, echoed what we said, where he feels like this is a really winnable game and a game that he feels like should put them in a favorable position. But he emphasized that they take everything game by game, and they are not going to overlook this opponent and try to, project any sort of playoff situations. They are going to focus on their opponents for today. They've had a lot of unfavorable results throughout the season that haven't really reflected their performances. They haven't been able to get many results to go their way. They've had some bad luck. They just went on a really long winless streak. They had their first win in 8 games just in their last game against St. Thomas Aquinas. So they're very serious about this game, and they are not taking Lincoln for granted at all. They've prepared for Lincoln's high press. They're preparing for the way Lincoln likes to attack, which is very direct kind of attack. And they're prepared for Lincoln to take a lot of shots from distance. So this is a very important game for Coach Mendolia. It's a stepping stone game in order to really propel them towards the very end of the season and potentially into the playoffs. So really good mindset, I think, from the Dolphins.
Well, speaking of Coach Mendolia's mindset, I got a chance to talk to him briefly this morning when I arrived on campus getting ready for today's game, and I asked him, Coach, are you the kind of coach who looks at the standings or the kind of coach who can't bear to look at the standings? And he says, not for me. He does not look at the standings. So he may not be exactly aware of where his team is, though I know he understands the importance of this game. And you touched on it, Aaron. The Dolphins currently are in a 3-way tie for that final playoff spot in the East Coast Conference. Staten Island, Queens, St. Thomas Aquinas, all 1-3-1. The Dolphins do own the tiebreaker over the Spartans. They played to a draw against Queens. So if you're a fan of the Dolphins, you're probably rooting for Stack in that matchup today, hoping the Spartans can knock off the Knights and give you some help. That being said, the Dolphins do need to take care of business in today's game against the Lions, and I mentioned some of the past success. I may have said the Dolphins won 2-1 2 years ago. They won 2-0 2 years back. Last year they won by a final score of 4-1, and it was a big game for Jacqueline D'Amico. She had a couple of goals in that game for the Dolphins. CSI scored the first 3 in that matchup with the Lions. They ultimately win 4-1. This year's leading goal scorer for Lincoln, Parker Moss, did score the lone goal in last year's game. That came in the 54th minute in the second half. At that point last season, following their loss to the Dolphins, the Lions were 1-12 on the season. They entered today's matchup 1-9-2, 0-6 in conference play. As I mentioned, the Dolphins are 1-3-1 in conference play. They are 3-4-4 overall. However, they are 2-1-3 here at home, so they look to pick up their third home win over the Lions here this afternoon. And with that, we wrap up the McDonald's pregame show. Coming up on the other side of this short break, the College of Staten Island takes on Lincoln University in East Coast Conference play, NCAA Division II women's soccer after this.
The Kettle Black on Staten Island, a top 5 wing joint in America by Food and Wine magazine. Serving daily lunch and dinner at the bar or on the floor. Perfect for family and group parties with top shelf drink and delicious food. From great times with good friends, live sports and watch parties, to Staten Island's hottest nightlife. The Kettle Black features live music and DJs weekly. The Kettle Black features daily and nightly food and drink specials. The best Staten Island has to offer is at the Kettle Black. We'll see you there at the Kettle Black, located on 415 Forest Avenue, Staten Island.
Hobra, a taco joint, Staten Island, where we're proud to have shared our family-first spirit with people from throughout New York City and the world. With indoor dining available both at the bar and on the floor. Or step outside for additional seating and an outdoor bar. Serving beer that's crisp, ice cold, and worthy of a day at the beach. Cocktails that explode with flavor. And great food made with the freshest and healthiest ingredients available. Events feature food and drink specials, live music, and the best of Staten Island nightlife. Your CSI Student ID saves you 10% on your dine-in order at Hobra. Visit us at 412 Forest Avenue, Staten Island.
No, I'm right. The podcast that uncovers the origin stories of some of the biggest names in sports, media, and entertainment. Nick Durst here along with Joe Calabrese.
Here we are, 200 episodes later, about 150 episodes with guests, our friends, soon to be your friends.
Well, it's pretty clear, Joe, that it's all about You Know I'm Right, the podcast. That's my You Know I'm Right moment. Wanted to do a podcast, and everyone was like, what are you, crazy? Who's going to listen? You're not going to get guests. Well, guess what? I'm the best when it comes to getting guests. You could vouch for that.
I am so happy that you asked me to do this. I couldn't have been more thrilled. And follow us on socials. Check us out. I promise you, if you want to work in media, whether you work in media now, whether you want to quit your job and work in media, come to us, and I promise you, we will get you on the right foot.
That's what it's all about, uncovering the origin stories of some of the biggest names in sports, media, and entertainment. Keep it locked on You Know I'm Right.
My path to a college degree would have been completely different had I not run Division II cross country for the University of Mount Olive. Having an athletic and academic scholarship was key for my success. Our coaches were really helpful with balancing out my academics and athletics. I decided to attend graduate school because I wanted to become an athletic director. Receiving the postgraduate scholarship through the NCAA provided me with the flexibility to choose the school that I wanted. So now I know that I can accomplish any goal that I set for myself.
As a student athlete in college, I first got involved with the NCAA at the national level. It was through the Student Athlete Advisory Committee, SAC, gave me an opportunity to advocate on behalf of all student athletes, to affect change and to make an impact. The NCAA is giving the student athlete a platform to voice their concerns and to be able to advocate for what's going to affect their well-being. The policies that are being put in place are speaking towards academics, they're speaking towards well-being, they're speaking towards fairness, creating a culture so that the student athletes have the best experiences possible.
I was the kid who would do surgery on my teddy bear and like have my sister be my patient, and I would wear the stethoscope and the lab coat. I was that kid. Wayne State Medical School has been my dream medical school since I was 5. Dr. News, who is the head of the biology department, definitely has had a huge impact over the past 2 years I've been in the lab. He took a chance on me and actually gives me the power to actually do things. Athletics are important, but so is service, so is research, so is becoming a better person. And we expect you to do well athletically, but don't forget the reason you're here, which is to give back to your community and to get good grades. I've had so many experiences with underprivileged people and just seeing that they want the basic things that people get out of life. And if I can help in any way, that just kind of warms my heart. That's why I want to be a doctor, to serve those who have been dealt a bad hand. It was my sophomore indoor season. It was the first year with our new head coach. And he comes in and he's like, we could be a national contending team if you guys work hard. And I heard him and I was like, well, I want to be a national champion. I want to be an All-American. And I bought in because he bought into our team. And I qualified to go to indoor nationals. It was just because I bought into myself, because someone bought into me. I decided I wanted it, so I went and grabbed it.
And we are back from Dolphin Soccer Park. Joe Foreman rejoining you alongside Aaron Cohen with the call of this CSI Dolphins women's soccer conference matchup as the Dolphins host the Lincoln University Lions. And Aaron, you have the starting lineup for both teams.
I do have the starting lineups, Joe, and we will start with the visiting Lincoln Lions in numerical order. Here are their starters. Firstly, we have number 0, Ariel Reyes. Number 2, Samaya Proctor. Number 4, Anaza Jackson. Number 5, Felicia Kanakai. Number 6, Jordan Allison. Number 7, Grace Quia. Not 100% sure how that is pronounced, unfortunately. Number 10, Ocean Kasum. Number 12, Brianna Reed. Number 14, Justice King. Number 15, Nyala Crawford. And number 22, Sienna Purnell. And for your home, College of Staten Island Dolphins, I will give us the starters in the formation. So in goal we have number 0, Brianna Dorr, sophomore, starting instead of the regular starters, Sarah Velacres. Center back pairing, same as it's been all season, Emily Albano and Megan Marr. Together, wingbacks will be Ariel Uy as well as Gabriela Castro. Midfield will be Adriana Melger as well as Ina Kolka, paired with Colleen Rodriguez. Up front, we have Juliana Carrara, Isabella Radovini, and, of course, Jacqueline D'Amico.
Those are the starters of the College of Staten Island Dolphins and Lincoln University Lions as we are underway from Dolphin Soccer Park. CSI looking for a big conference win today, and they could be off to a nice start here as Radovini moves in. Her shot was blocked, and that ball rolls over the near side, throw in Staten Island.
One thing that's evident early is that Lincoln likes to play out the back, but they're not exactly the most secure team on the ball. So there might be a lot of opportunities for the Dolphins to win the ball up high.
Spoke about it earlier. This is not the only game in the East Coast Conference today. Damon takes on Roberts Wesleyan. Stack takes on Queens. And Deauville faces Malloy. All three of those games get started at 5 p.m. or later. As that ball finds Radovini, the flag is up and she is offsides. But the Dolphins very quickly generating a couple of scoring chances early.
That was a confident call, Joe. You knew she was offsides immediately. Props to you.
Well, Aaron, I had some help, and it was you throwing your arm up in the air. So thank you for the assist. After that one call against American International in the men's soccer game earlier in the season, I've learned that I always have to check the linesman.
It's hard to see the linesman from this angle we have in the booth. Maybe you've got an easier time.
On the near side, I have a good view. On the far side, the window pane did obstruct it in the AIC game, but should have known better. I should have known better. We got a bit excited. Sometimes when it's a game-winning goal in the closing seconds, you don't have that moment to check. Dolphins possess it in the midfield as they work it toward the near side. This is Castro. Castro finds Radavini. Radavini, the East Coast Conference Offensive Player of the Week, as that's redirected onto the foot of D'Amico. Rodriguez shot is saved. Easy save for Reyes and net to get things started.
Well, D'Amico tied for first in the East Coast Conference for assists, has 4 on the season. We know she has creativity, and that was a really nice backheel flick to find Colleen Rodriguez. Unfortunately, couldn't generate enough power on the shot.
Lincoln has scored just once in 2 matches against the Dolphins, and you know CSI would love to jump out to an early lead in this game and not have to sweat this result. Lincoln has never beaten CSI, albeit in just 2 meetings, as that shot was blocked off the foot of Melgar. Ball chipped up in the air by Qasim and onto the foot of Castro. Castro into the box. D'Amico is there, tried to play it with the body. Carrara shoots, and she scores. Just over 3 minutes into the first half, Juliana Carrara puts the Dolphins ahead 1-0.
Well, Jackie D'Amico's taking all of the attention of the defenders. She is a presence there in the box, and it was a nice delivery, a little bit behind her, but she managed to, instead of generating her own shot, create space for her teammates, and very, very simple finish for Carrara there. Just a little poke pass to keeper. One of the slowest rolling goals you may ever see.
Question is, did D'Amico get a piece with the body? I didn't think so initially. But if she did, she will get an assist on that goal. They may have to consult the video next door. Takeaway by Melgar in the midfield. She moves into the attacking third. Radavini sends one wide.
Goal scored by number 11, Juliana Carrara.
Well, one specific tactic that Coach Mendolia mentioned to me is that he's trying to get more players forward, trying to be more proactive on the attack, and take advantage of the space that Lincoln may give them. And we're seeing that come to fruition already. And Lincoln's a team that is not known for an airtight defense. They concede a lot of goals. So this could be a very unfavorable scoreline for the visitors here if play continues as it has been so far.
Lincoln's been on the wrong end of some lopsided scores this year. The Dolphins looking to jump ahead by 2. Radavini didn't get all of it off the feed from D'Amico. No assist officially credited on the goal yet.
If D'Amico were to get that assist, she would no longer be tied for first in the conference for assists. Of course, she would take sole possession.
D'Amico among the leaders in assists. Radavini among the leader in goals. Rodriguez had that cross broken up. It's cleared away by the Lions. Albano up to Rodriguez, redirected for Kolka. Ball up ahead to Rodriguez, rolling toward the touchline, and the Lions will let it go. Goal kick, Lincoln.
Nice interplay. Good first touch passing. Very clear pattern there. Pass from Kolka just slightly off target.
Goal kick taken short. And a line goes down. That was Brianna Reed losing her footing over the ball.
That was really awkward, Joe, the way she stamped into the turf. She's still lying on her back. I am worried.
Yeah, the way she went down was very abrupt.
She looks to be in considerable pain.
Clock is stopped, and the trainer will head out onto the field. So with that, we will step aside and take a quick break. 39-19 to go in the first half. Dolphins lead at 1-0.
I was the kid who would do surgery on my teddy bear and like have my sister be my patient, and I would wear the stethoscope and the lab coat. I was that kid. Wayne State Medical School has been my dream medical school since I was 5. Dr. News, who is the head of the biology department, definitely has had a huge impact over the past 2 years I've been in the lab. He took a chance on me and actually gives me the power to actually do things. Athletics are important, but so is service, so is research, so is becoming a better person. And we expect you to do well athletically, but don't forget the reason you're here, which is to give back to your community and to get good grades. I've had so many experiences with
And we're back from Dolphin Soccer Park following the injury timeout. Brianna Reed was helped off of the field.
She's kind of walking under her own power, although she's very heavily favoring that right leg, hoping that she is okay and it's nothing serious.
Brianna Dorr gets her first touch of the game. Taking a look at the video, Jackie D'Amico did touch that ball last. She's credited an assist on that last goal.
That'll bring her to 5 on the season.
Video gave a great look at it. She certainly redirected it with the body as Radavini's shot was blocked. And that one is sent over the frame. Radavini certainly has a scorer's mindset, and she's been very aggressive early in this first half.
She's got 6 goals on the season. That's tied for 3rd in the conference. 43 shots. I feel like we mention it every game here on the College of Staten Island campus, but she gets the most shots off out of anyone in the conference, 43. That's a lot. That's a lot of shots to be putting together from one player in one season. And we didn't get to see an end product there, but a lot of pace she showed. She just blazed by her defender.
That ball headed in the air. Comes to rest in the midfield circle. Lions trying to play it forward. Denied by the Dolphins. Castro got a foot on it. Now Uwe. Melgar. Across the midfield stripe and into the attacking third. Radavini with plenty of room. Crosses one. Far post. Shot is kept off the line. Don't think that was ticketed for the back of the net, but the Lions were there to make sure. Rodriguez beats a marker and is tackled, setting up a goal kick. That ball deflected off of Rodriguez following that sliding tackle, and Lincoln will send it away.
A lot of disorganization on defense, Joe, in all senses of it. The marking on the cross a few minutes ago, very just not exact. A lot of players free at the back post, and then inability to close out the dribbling of Colleen Rodriguez there. It's going to be a long day for the Lions.
And Rodriguez is offsides. As long as they stay within a goal, anything can happen. If the Dolphins are able to break this game open, they are going to have a lot of work to do, both on the attack and defensively. Possession has been almost all Dolphins thus far. We're just over 9 minutes into this first half.
One thing I'd like to point out that won't become relevant until later in the game, but if the viewers at home are able to take a look at Lincoln's bench, they only have 3 players on that bench. One is a backup goalkeeper, and the other one, aside from Brianna Reed, who came off hurt, is their only sub, it seems like, at the moment. So they're going to get tired out there, the Lions players. And the Dolphins have plenty of substitutes to make if they so choose.
Well, the Dolphins will do whatever is necessary to pick up the win in today's match. This game means plenty to them. Rodriguez toward D'Amico, who has a step. And she's taken down. Play continues. And the Lions do clear over the far sideline.
Dare I say that was a little bit of embellishment there from D'Amico.
You don't say. That ball onto the foot of Radavini, looking for a shot. And instead, the ball is sent off of her right foot and over the touchline for another Lions goal kick. Unlike the men, women's soccer do have one non-conference game remaining. That will be played next Tuesday, October 24th. It will be Morgan's Message Mental Health Awareness Day here at Dolphins Soccer Park. That event, one the team hosted last year. It will make its return next Tuesday. So be sure to join us here at Dolphins Soccer Park for that. Along with the one non-conference game, the Dolphins also have a pair of conference matches left. One on the road this Saturday at Deauville. And then Senior Day on Saturday, October 28th. It will be Soma United FC Club Day here at Dolphins Soccer Park. Marr working toward midfield. Found Carrara, now Castro for D'Amico. D'Amico is dispossessed. And the Dolphins get it right back. Radavini was working against Qualia there along the near side. The ball rebounded onto the foot of Melgar. That ball intended for Rodriguez, knocked down by the Lions in the back. King lost her footing for a moment.
Worked in her favor in a way.
Looks like the substitution for Reed was Kalani Broadnax. She wears number 3. Once again, Reed left with an injury earlier. It looked like an injury to the leg or knee. We won't speculate any further than that. Albano for Kolka. That ball knocked down off of Jackson. Castro couldn't keep it. Allison looked to play it ahead. Cosm couldn't get there. Here comes Radavini again. Radavini for D'Amico. She gets it right back. Radavini on the edge of the box, had it knocked away. But Lincoln will concede a corner. First of the game for either team.
Lincoln really haven't been able to get out of their own half so far this game. Just can't really connect any passes when they do find possession. Overwhelmed in the midfield by the Dolphins.
Corner taken toward the top of the box. Albano met by a pair of defenders. Rodriguez from Melgar. I'm not sure if that was a shot gone wrong or an attempt to play the ball in a bit deeper, but Dolphins will concede the goal kick to the Lions.
I think it was a shot attempt, but Rodriguez never looked comfortable on her left foot there. Didn't get the right contact at all. Needed to open up her body a little bit and try and get a little bit of curve on that towards the far post, but nevertheless, I believe the Dolphins will get a couple more chances.
Rodriguez has been in the middle of quite a few scoring plays for the Dolphins throughout the season. And most notably, at the end of the game against Queens, as that ball's crossed in and knocked down with the body, but most notably against Queens back on September 30th, she had a chance to win the game. Received a great ball from Adriana Melgar and sent the shot wide, but she's put herself in position to score many times. And if she starts to convert on those, that's going to be a big boost for the Dolphins down the stretch of this season.
Well, she did score against St. Thomas Aquinas, and from what I could see from the records, that was the first goal of her career for the club. So congratulations to Colleen Rodriguez for that. She also registered an assist in that game, so in some ways you could say it was a career game for her, coming off of a big high.
We've seen that a couple of times this year. Ariel Uwe had a similar game earlier in the year. That was against Georgian Court. A couple of goals and an assist. Big game for Isabella Radavini as well. 2 goals and an assist in the game against Stack. The Dolphins led that game 4-1. Nearly saw that lead get away as Radavini moves in. Looks to cross in front. And it's sent out of the box by the keeper. That was Reyes right back onto the foot of Radavini. Radavini surveys. And lost it over the touchline. Qualia not conceding any ground defensively there against Radavini, who's really been looking to create scoring chances, specifically shot attempts. More so on that last sequence. She was trying to cross it in, and to no avail.
Yeah, Quai's been doing a pretty good job of challenging Radavini. I'm not really sure why the goalkeeper didn't pick up Radavini's initial cross in that sequence, but she didn't end up paying for it, so on to the next one for her.
Ball rolling down toward the corner flag, and it's going to be a Dolphins throw-in taken quickly to Kolka. Kolka chips it in the air, still staying with it, looked to shoot, did not get all of it. Carrara off the block, has it. Radavini from D'Amico, wide.
Radavini's frustrated. She hasn't been able to get it going thus far. Feels like she could have done more with what she's had. But just total dominance here from CSI. They're doing really whatever they please around the box. Great effort from Kolka to maneuver around some defenders, but just couldn't fashion the shot.
Under 28.5 minutes to go in half number 1. Much of this first half has been spent to our right, down around the Lions' goal. They looked to change that here, but could not. As that ball was intercepted by the Dolphins. Here comes Melgar. Castro for Radavini. Radavini for D'Amico. D'Amico back to Castro. She shoots, and that shot is saved. Four shots on goal now for the Dolphins. Lincoln crossing midfield once again. That was a good ball on target, but off the sides is the call, and that was awfully close to a very dangerous moment for the Dolphins, but they were confident that the attacker was offsides.
One thing that CSI defenders will have to be aware of is the speed of the Lions attackers. They know that they're set up to counter, and they are ready to take advantage of the space in behind. They might not be as lucky next time with an offsides call.
A bit tough to pick up the numbers on these Lincoln uniforms from the front, which is the angle we had, but that was Kalani Broadnax making that run. Melgar for Kolka. Right back to Melgar. She wanted Radavini. Pass was deflected, but Radavini comes down with it. Strong touch, but she is unable to keep it in. I think the Lions were the last to touch it, and they were. So it will be a corner kick for the Dolphins. They will send Rodriguez and Melgar toward the corner here. Dolphins may look to play this short and allow Melgar to cross. Lions quickly committed defender. Now Rodriguez is given plenty of room. Left-footed shot toward the post is saved. Quality shot by Rodriguez, who nearly had goal number 2.
They just got to keep peppering the goal, Joe. They've had plenty of opportunities. We're only 20 minutes into the game. Our scoreboard here says 5 shots on goal, which is already half of what they average on a full game basis. They average about 10.4 shots per game, so this is looking to be an above-average offensive performance here from the home team.
Rodriguez will cross it this time. It's punched in the air, and it lands behind the frame. Sometimes a bit tough to tell. Camera could also play tricks on our viewers at home, but that one sent over the bar. Dolphins with another corner played into Melgar. Her shot was blocked. Albano looked to shoot, could not get the shot off. It was cleared out toward midfield by the Lions. The Dolphins will regroup. And speaking of above-average offensive performances for this Dolphins team, last time out they matched the season high. 4 goals against the Spartans. Last time they scored 4 was way back in the beginning of the season. They scored 4 in a 4-1 win over Bloomfield back on Sunday, September 3rd. That was CSI's second match of the year.
Speaking of that 4-goal mark, it's something relatively familiar to Lincoln as well. They've conceded 4 goals or more on 6 different occasions this season. 6.
When you said it was a familiar situation for Lincoln, I figured it wasn't going to be good news with the 1-9-2 start. But the Lions could help erase some of that with a win here today. That would certainly play spoiler for the Dolphins if Lincoln was able to steal a game. If Lincoln was even able to escape with a draw, that would really hurt CSI and their playoff chances. You know the Dolphins would love to get up by 2 goals before halftime and put some distance between themselves and the Lions. Lincoln was awfully close to a scoring chance just a few moments ago when the offsides flag went up. Since then, the Dolphins, with a series of corner kicks, they now have 4. They're looking for shot on goal number 6, as Uwe couldn't get to that ball, but the Dolphins do earn a throw. Carrara heads it toward D'Amico. That's sent up into the air. Onto the foot of Carrara. Back to Melgar. Bit strong on the touch. It got away from her. But Castro tracks it down. Melgar another chance here. Has Radavini. Radavini crosses over the head of Melgar and just past the foot of Colleen Rodriguez.
Even though it didn't find anyone, I think Radavini will be happier with that cross. Gave her teammates a chance there. And just the marking isn't strong by the defenders. There are open runners on most every cross. So if you keep getting those deliveries in, eventually you'll find some success.
We approach the midway point in this first half. 22:40 on the clock here at Dolphin Soccer Park. CSI leading Lincoln 1-0. No shots yet for the visitors in this one. Dolphins are ready with 5 shots on goal. Overall, 10 shots for the Dolphins. They have already matched or come very close to matching their season's average, as Aaron mentioned before. Ball pinballs around in the attacking third of CSI, and that pass threads the needle on its way to Radavini, who beats one challenge and earns another Dolphins corner.
Radavini just continuing to cause problems over there. They doubled her up in that moment. She's still able to get something positive out of it.
Radavini and Rodriguez with 3 shots each already. Radavini takes the corner, headed away nicely by the Lions. That ball traveled a long way in the air out toward midfield as Castro sends it back onto the head of Carrara. D'Amico moving in, but she's beat to the spot by Reyes. Reyes wisely coming off her line there to meet that ball. If she had not, that may have been a problem, as may have had our assistant athletic director for facilities, Meredith Moore, take that ball at midfield directly. I don't know if it was off the body or the side of the head. That landed near the table anyway. They need to get a table guard there, have someone standing in front of the table, make sure that can't happen. Get the hands team over there.
Yeah.
Can't use your hands on the pitch, but it's more than allowed on the sidelines. That's a great ball for Radovini. She may get that shot she's been looking for. She does, but it is stopped by Reyes.
Well, what a nice ball in behind. Met Radovini right in stride. Can't ask for a more perfect pass than that. And the touch was exactly what she needed to set herself up for the shot. Radovini just couldn't quite pick a corner. Goalkeeper covered the near post well. That's what she went for.
Radovini sets up Kolka. And Rodriguez sends one behind the frame. Not sure if Kolka's attempt was a crossover shot. I'd presume a shot from in close as we reach the 20-minute mark in this first half. Goal kick Lincoln coming up here. Dolphins have kept the pressure on throughout the first 25 minutes, but have yet to score a second goal. It took them just 3 minutes to get on the board earlier in this first half. Pass intercepted by Uwe up the far side, but Lincoln gets it right back. Ball in the air. Came down onto the body of Kazem, and now chance here for Lincoln. Albano giving chase from behind, and she's able to block the shot.
There's been a couple moments when Lincoln is able to get up the field where they're finding free runners in behind. Really subpar marking so far by the Dolphins defenders. They haven't had a lot to do, but they've got to stay switched on when they're needed, because if not, Lincoln will pounce.
And do you think that lack of time spent on the attack by Lincoln plays against the Dolphins in that regard defensively?
I think that it's important. This is often said about goalkeepers, but it's true for all members of defense, is that when your team is controlling the game, it's really easy to switch off and feel comfortable just letting your mind wander and not really focusing on what's going on because you're so confident in your team maintaining control. But if you let up in that moment and then all of a sudden other team has a break and you're not switched on, that could be costly.
I think something important to note here, which I'll elaborate on after this attacking play, is Kolka found Radovini, but the flag is up and ball ended up wide anyway. We've seen the defenders for CSI also lending themselves to the attack quite a bit in this game. That's certainly something that has kept them busy at the very least. Under 18 minutes to go in the first half, and it looks like Quiet might be a bit shaken up, maybe something in her eye.
Well, it seems like she's okay, but I'll say the Lions really cannot afford another hurt player. They just don't have the numbers for it.
I think she took a shot to the face, as it looked like the Dolphins may have been called for foul as well near the top of the box. Tough to tell from up here, though the flag was up. That ball sent to the midfield circle. Radovini comes away with it. Melgar into the air for Carrara. Flag up, offsides.
Carrara's frustrated. I'm not sure if she feels like she was in an offside position, but regardless, there was an opportunity earlier in that sequence where Radovini could have slipped her in behind. Instead decided to cycle it through the middle, and by the time the ball did get out wide to Carrara, she was a little bit more advanced, so bit of a missed opportunity there from Radovini maybe to make a more creative play.
That ball headed beyond midfield as Castro works against Kazem, fighting for possession. Kazem went down, and the Dolphins head back the other way. Radovini for Carrara. And that's sent over the near side by Proctor. Dolphins will make their first substitution of the game as Nadia Evela checks in. She replaces Ina Kolka.
Kolka had quite a performance first half hour or so of this game. She's really been a big physical presence in that midfield. Evel's got big shoes to fill.
Takeaway by the Dolphins. Castro for Carrara. Off the heel toward Rodriguez and Evela. And Evela sends one into the netting behind goal.
Well, that's one way to introduce yourself to the game, I suppose.
That's definitely making an entrance right there. A lot of leg behind that shot. That one well up into the netting. And shots like that are the reason we tell our staff, do not park behind goal, because that one was probably about 80 or 90% of the way up. If you end up behind that netting and are too far from the fence, we've seen cracked windshields before. Don't underestimate the power of a soccer ball. Marr. Back to Albano. Uwe. Had her pass knocked away, but Melgar tracks it down. Works through 3 Lions. Now Evela. Toward Radavini. Flag up. Offsides.
That was the right call, Radavini. Just a little bit too far advanced from the flick of D'Amico. Maybe if D'Amico didn't get a head on it, she might have been onside, but I'm not sure if the linesman would have been privy to that.
Radavini taking a look over in that direction right now. Obviously not pleased with the call. Under 15 to go in this first half. We approach the 14-minute mark now from Dolphins Soccer Park. Still just the 1 goal on the board. The Dolphins hope to change that here. Takeaway by Rodriguez. And the Dolphins will throw. Substitution coming on for CSI as well. Isabella Castro will replace Gabriela Castro here.
One Castro for another. Sisters from Ellenville, New York. Gabriella being a freshman, Isabella being a junior.
That ball right on target for Radavini, who is flagged for offsides again. Right now we have the offsides tally at 5 for CSI. That might have been 6 right there, but we'll see. Looks like that was indeed 6.
That really is a discipline issue, Joe. Got to be able to stay level with the defenders if you're trying to get in behind. And, 1 or 2 offside, that can be expected, but 6 within the first half, that's going to kill your attack a little bit.
You have to believe the Dolphins, the way they've played, would have expected to score more than just 1 goal. They've dominated possession, are well into double digits now in shots. As that's cleared over the far side by the Lions, Dolphins will throw. Just under 12.5 minutes to go in this first half.
One thing they can't afford to do, Joe, is get frustrated, because even if they're not churning out the goals at the rate that they hope to, they're still maintaining some good control.
And that was headed just wide by Carrara. Great ball from the far side to set her up. And you also have to think the Dolphins, should they score again, could likely be comfortable with that lead. They've never allowed more than 1 goal in a game against Lincoln. There's a difference between comfort and complacency. I think comfortable is a good thing. Complacent obviously is not.
I think defensively it's a big focus for them this game as well, because they've been struggling to keep clean sheets, only 1 in their last 8 games. Coach Mendolia attributes that to.
The Dolphins nearly score again. Good cross. Wound up on the foot of Colleen Rodriguez. I don't think she got a clean shot off, but she was there. And the ball ended up just wide of the post for the 2nd consecutive Dolphin shot attempt. First one off the head of Carrara, that one off the foot of Rodriguez. Dolphins now at 15 shots with just under 11 minutes to go in this first half. Ball just beyond midfield here. Far side, Uwe. Over to Albano. Albano for Castro. Castro redirects it back toward Marr. And that was taken away. Sent up into the air, and now it's a foot race. Marr will get to it first. She finds Castro. That was Dominique Duville who chased that ball down. Made a nice play to give Lincoln a chance. But Marr won the foot race, and now the Lions will have to work from midfield. 10 minutes to go, first half. That ball is knocked away by Melgar. Back to Dorr. Dorr for Albano. Albano facing pressure. Cosm looked to cross. And Albano did not get a piece of it, so the Dolphins are awarded a goal kick.
Albano gets off a little lucky there. She had a little moment of weakness, didn't realize there was a defender on her shoulder. In reality, should have just played it back to her keeper. No harm, no foul, however.
Here comes Castro. Looking for Radavini. And Kwaya plays it back to her keeper. Radavini sprinting in along with D'Amico. That ball just cleared D'Amico's head. Now Melgar for D'Amico. D'Amico turns. Has Carrara. Carrara shoots and scores! Juliana Carrara scores her second of the game. And the Dolphins lead it 2-0 with just over 9 minutes to play in the first half.
Really nice finish there from Carrara. Stuck it in the far corner. Nothing the keeper could do. She had all the time she needed to find her space, find her corner to pick. And it all came from the Dolphins winning the ball high up the field. Keeper had it in possession, played it up the middle. And I believe it was Melgar who won the ball off of one of the Lions midfielders. And finally, they get their second goal after so many attempts on net. That'll take a lot of pressure off of this team coming into halftime. And just a little bit of a boost, a lift, Joe. It'll help build the spirits of the team, even though they were already winning.
You're absolutely right about that, Aaron. It seemed like an eternity had passed since the last Dolphins goal, and that feeling was accentuated by the fact that the Dolphins dominated possession and had so many shots. Meanwhile, that goal for Carrara, her second of the season, those 2 goals she scored in this first half, her first 2 goals as a Dolphin. Meanwhile, Jackie D'Amico picks up another assist. She continues to lead the team and the conference. D'Amico now has 6 helpers on the year.
She's so important to this attack, Joe, in the way that she orchestrates so many goal-scoring chances. She just knows where her teammates are at all times. Meanwhile, Carrara, I'm sure she feels like she could have had a few more goals coming into this game, but she's finally got on the score sheet, and she'll just be looking to build from there. She's a good attacking presence for this team. Radavini gets a lot of attention, and rightly so, but there's plenty of talent to go around here, this Dolphins attack.
No doubt about that. And if you're the Dolphins, you hope to see that click late in this season when the games matter most, as that shot is saved. Reyes getting gloves on it as that was sent toward the far post by Melgar.
Pretty good effort from Melgar. She's often profiled as a defensive midfielder, but she really offers a lot more than that. She's really clever on the ball, great at maneuvering past players in the midfield, and she fashioned a nice shot for herself there.
Both these men's and women's soccer teams here at CSI have a pair very good midfielders that make a big impact. Melgar and Danny Angulo on the men's side. We talk about them a lot statistically. They don't always put up the biggest numbers, though Angulo has lent himself to several goals and has scored a few of his own, but both have major impacts on their respective teams. We'll get a chance to see Angulo and the men coming up next. That game will kick off at 3 p.m. Our start time shifted back an hour from our normal doubleheader start times today. Have to think that's likely because of the trip that Lincoln had to make down here to Staten Island.
Came all the way up from southern Pennsylvania. right around the Delaware border.
Lions get set to throw in here.
Speaking of the Lions, you a fan of their jerseys, Joe?
I don't like the visibility of the numbers on the front. I think if the numbers on the front shared the white border with the numbers on the back, I'd be much more pleased as a commentator. In terms of aesthetics, I think middle of the pack. Don't love him, don't hate him, as that's sent on goal and saved again. What do you think?
I like orange, Joe. I'm a fan of these jerseys. I think the vertical stripes are nice as well. Not many teams do that, so yeah, I'd say positive for me.
And now that I'm looking at it a bit more closely, I think the numbers on the front do have the white border. I think it's just hard to read them in the midst of those stripes, as that's headed toward goal, but Dorr gets there. I think when it comes to jerseys, I have a very biased perspective because, for me, so much of it comes down to how visible the numbers are. As Carrara is able to keep that in along the touchline, and the Lions concede a corner. They could not keep that one on the right side of that corner flag. Dolphins will make another substitution here. Jolie Van Stralen checks in. Carrara sets up to take this corner.
Really nice pass from Evie on the build-up, by the way.
Hilke got a piece, went down right along the goal line. Van Stralen in the air over everybody.
Dolphins clearly trying to both take advantage of their numbers advantage as well as keep their starters rested as much as they can while they dominate the game. It's very good coaching from Mendolia.
Whistle and a foul against Lincoln as we wind down toward the end of the first half. Just over 4 minutes to play in half number one. The Dolphins lead it 2-0. Dolphins have not conceded a shot in this game. They are out shooting the Lions 18-0. Carrara already has 2 goals. Crosses this one, headed by D'Amico, and scooped up by Reyes.
All in all, it wasn't a bad header from D'Amico. She directed it nicely, got her head low, made nice contact, but it's difficult to generate the power to score with a header from there.
And there's a great through ball from Evela, but the shot was saved by Reyes from point-blank range. She met Melgar right at the point of that shot.
Reyes was feeling that. She seemed to be in a little bit of pain as she continued to chase the ball out after she saved it. Very unusual goalkeeping, and the referee's going to actually stop the game for her.
If that shot was taken to the head, oftentimes that's an automatic stoppage, but the official could see Reyes was a bit shaken up. She stays in the game. She's okay as the Dolphins concede a throw. Under 3 minutes to go, first half. Dolphins lead by a pair. Lincoln looking to move through the midfield, but Evela was having none of it. Carrara lost it for a moment. Now Van Stralen wanted Hilke, but 2 orange jerseys there.
I don't think it would have mattered. I believe Hilke was offside.
I think you're right. Rodriguez moving into the attacking third. Pass intercepted. Just over 2 minutes to go in the first half now. Albano comes storming down to intercept that ball. Travels straight through the back line of Lincoln and onto the foot of their goalkeeper, Reyes. That ball punted across the midfield stripe onto the foot of Albano. Now Castro back to Albano. She avoids a challenge from behind, gets rid of it. And nobody home on the pass. Lincoln will throw. Kazem Sets one up the far side. Rolling slowly, and Albano will take control. Marr for Evola. Dolphins hoping to build up one final attacking play here. Evola. Ball not strong enough, but Melgar nearly took it away.
1 minute remaining in the first half. 1 minute.
Instead, the ball rolls back toward midfield with 1 minute to play in the first half. Broadnax got rid of it. And she has it back. One-on-one with the keeper. It's a breakaway. Broadnax moving in. And she scores. No flag. And just like that, Lincoln is back to within a goal. We talked about it, Aaron. The Dolphins couldn't get complacent. Their defenders have been very busy. And that time, a big hole in the middle of that back line. Broadnax made her run straight through it. The ball right on target, right on time. And Lincoln is on the board for the first time.
That's very disappointing, Joe. Mondolia will be extremely frustrated with that. Almost got to the end of the half with a very strong, consistent performance. And just had a defensive lapse. Free runner, headed in behind. And she had all the time in the world to pick her corner, and she did so. Goalkeeper really had no chance. They maintained their lead, the Dolphins, but I know they were really hoping to keep a clean sheet, and that is now out the window.
And with how much time and space Broadnax had, I was shocked to see that she was on sides.
8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2.
That'll do it for the first half, and we have a game here at Dolphin Soccer Park. CSI leads Lincoln 2-1 after 45 minutes of play. When we come back, the second half of this East Coast Conference women's soccer matchup.
I feel like as a player, I've grown so much with this group and with my coaches, and my game has just elevated a lot more than it would have anywhere else, to be honest. So I'm just so grateful to be able to play with this team. And just being able to play in Division I soccer week in, week out, it's just getting the best of both worlds, having the opportunity to get a degree. You really have to appreciate what you have. And there's so many kids around the world that don't get these opportunities, so you have to take advantage of it for sure.
If I lose, I'll respond with respect.
If I win, I'll back it up with humility.
If I fail, I'll rise up with honor. It's tough for us to put it all on the line.
Don't undo my hard work with poor sportsmanship.
Respect. It's the name of the game.
My dad was a soccer coach and bought this little book bag. I could sit in the book bag like facing backwards and look like my legs out. So I'd be in his book bag when my dad coaches and the ball's going around. I'm like kicking at the ball in the back. And my dad was like, we have a prodigy. So he put me into soccer and it just progressed from there. The catalyst was the opportunity to play soccer at a Division II school. I loved the team. They brought me in like I was one of their own. The professors help out so much. They actually care about developing me, not only so I just memorize the material and able to take a test, but am I able to apply the information. I don't feel nervous asking them, hey, I'm not going to be in class, can you send me something? And they're completely fine with it and they understand, which is the best part. On my team, I thrive to work as hard as I can. I mean, whatever you do on the field, there's a positive correlation to whatever else you do. Be it personal relationships, homework, the way you carry yourself. I'm able to go out and become president of the Student Athletic Advisory Committee. SAC is consistent of like a ton of different backgrounds, and we'll come up with cool ideas for like fundraisings and having the opportunity to raise money for Make-A-Wish and knowing it's going towards a good cause. Not only motivates me, but it motivates the whole community. I've changed since I got to King University. It's really helped me to develop as a leader. I think it's honestly the best thing that's ever happened.
Dear soccer, thank you. Thank you for allowing me to be in this position today.
Thank you for being something that is more than just my sport. Soccer really is the beautiful game, and it will take you more places and give you more experiences than you could have ever dreamed of.
The people that I owe the most to are my teammates. They have been my crutch to lean on, shoulder to cry on, my hype woman in times of doubt, and my best friends day in and day out.
You get to wake up every day and play the sport you love at one of the highest levels at a prestigious university surrounded by your best friends. There is simply no better feeling. You have given me my best friends, my most trusted mentors, and the most essential experiences of my young life. You are my community. With you, there is no race, no gender, no rich, and no poor. There is just a ball, 2 goals, and a common language.
Thank you for teaching me how to be a strong and courageous woman on and off the field.
Thank you for giving me hope for the future.
On the soccer field, I found a home. That is where I have always belonged.
I've learned a lot of things. I think one of the biggest things is how to cope with people, because I think that at the University of Virginia, and just as you keep moving on in life, you're going to keep meeting many more people. And I think all of the connections that I've made just at the University of Virginia they've become a big part of me. I think even the guys on the team, I consider some of them my family. I mean, I wake up in the morning at 6 in the morning, I'm spending time with them all the way up till 11 o'clock, 12 o'clock at night. And I think that's one of the bigger things that I've learned is the relationships that I build with people, whether it be on the soccer field and off the soccer field, because even classmates at University of Virginia are some people I consider some of my best friends. And I definitely think connections with people and the bonds that you build with people that I know are going to carry on with me through my entire life, it's definitely some of the bigger lessons I've learned.
Champions know how to seize opportunities. When they see moments of greatness unfold right before their eyes, they push as hard as they possibly can, and then they push harder. Because the heart of a champion never settles, never quits, and never stops giving its all. We are champions. We are Division II. We go big, we give it everything we've got, and we win. On the field, on our campuses, in our communities, for our causes, in our careers. We rise to become champions in everything we do. We are Division II, and there are no limits here. We make our time count. We set our own path. We become champions on our terms. It's time to up your game, because we're here to play and learn. But most importantly, we're here to discover ourselves, our vision, our heart, our drive, to achieve every goal we aim for, because we want to be champions at the highest level, life. At Division II, the opportunities are here. Are you ready?
I can't describe how much I learned as a player, but also as a human being, because you have to overcome challenges that you don't face in other areas. As part of the NCAA and obviously the college system itself, being a student athlete, there's so many challenges that not everybody else can relate to, and you have to try to excel in both areas. And now eventually you'll become a leader. Like in my case, I kind of had to step up into that role, and I feel like I've embraced that challenge. And now I love the spot where I am right now. I love how I've matured, become a leader, become the captain of the team, and hopefully I can help the rest of the guys win the Natty.
I was the kid who would do surgery on my teddy bear and like have my sister be my patient, and I would wear the stethoscope and the lab coat. I was that kid. Wayne State Medical School has been my dream medical school since I was 5. Dr. News, who is the head of the biology department, definitely has had a huge impact over the past 2 years I've been in the lab. He took a chance on me and actually gives me the power to actually do things. Athletics are important, but so is service, so is research, so is becoming a better person. And we expect you to do well athletically, but don't forget the reason you're here, which is to give back to your community and to get good grades. I've had so many experiences with underprivileged people and just seeing that they want the basic things that people get out of life. And if I can help in any way, that just kind of warms my heart. That's why I want to be a doctor, to serve those who have been dealt a bad hand. It was my sophomore indoor season. It was the first year with our new head coach. And he comes in and he's like, we could be a national contending team if you guys work hard. And I heard him and I was like, well, I want to be a national champion. I want to be an All-American. And I bought in because he bought into our team. And I qualified to go to indoor nationals. It was just because I bought into myself, because someone bought into me. I decided I wanted it, so I went and grabbed it.
Dear soccer, there are no words to describe my love, admiration, and appreciation for you. From the moment I was brought onto this earth, you were all I knew. You have been with me and have seen me from a young little boy in Brazil to a well-rounded man in America. From all the days and nights kicking the ball at walls, breaking everything at home and making my mom upset, sleeping with a ball under my arms, making fun of my dad for beating him by 1 goal, never imagined that he will let me in just to see me smile. You were there for me. You were there with me. When we are together, nothing else matters. It's me and you. It's like the whole world disappears. Everything goes away, and we just enjoy it. I have always given you my all, my very best. Soccer, you have brought me to a place outside of my comfort zone, gave me an opportunity to live out my dream, and introduced me to my mentors, my role models, and most importantly, my family. You have been my teacher, my biggest fan, my biggest critic, and my best friend. With you, I was able to accomplish milestones that I'll always be proud, experience moments that I'll never forget, make memories that I'll forever remember, and live the life that I always dream about. So thank you. Thank you for turning the little boy who used to break things into the house to the man that I am today. There are no words to describe my love, admiration, and appreciation for you. But there are words to describe the feelings that I have right now, playing in the Final Four, with the greatest team, the greatest coaching staff, with the greatest university, and with the greatest fans. Nothing will ever compare or measure up to this moment. We're not done. I hope to still have you with me for a long time and live many more great memories together. Thank you, soccer.
No, I'm right. The podcast that uncovers the origin stories of some of the biggest names in sports, media, and entertainment. Nick Durst here along with Joe Calabrese.
Here we are, 200 episodes later, about 150 episodes with guests, our friends, soon to be your friends.
Well, it's pretty clear, Joe, that it's all about You Know I'm Right, the podcast. That's my You Know I'm Right moment. Wanted to do a podcast, and everyone was like, what are you, crazy? Who's going to listen? You're not going to get guests. Well, guess what? I'm the best when it comes to getting guests. You could vouch for that.
I am so happy that you asked me to do this. I couldn't have been more thrilled. And follow us on socials. Check us out. I promise you, if you want to work in media, whether you work in media now, whether you want to quit your job and work in media, come to us, and I promise you, we will get you on the right foot.
That's what it's all about, uncovering the origin stories of some of the biggest names in sports, media, and entertainment. Keep it locked on You Know I'm Right.
My path to a college degree would have been completely different had I not run Division II cross country for the University of Mount Olive. Having an athletic and academic scholarship was key for my success. Our coaches were really helpful with balancing out my academics and athletics. I decided to attend graduate school because I wanted to become an athletic director. Receiving the postgraduate scholarship through the NCAA provided me with the flexibility to choose the school that I wanted. So now I know that I can accomplish any goal that I set for myself.
As a student athlete in college, I first got involved with the NCAA at the national level. It was through the Student Athlete Advisory Committee, SAC, gave me an opportunity to advocate on behalf of all student athletes, to affect change and to make an impact. The NCAA is giving the student athlete a platform to voice their concerns and to be able to advocate for what's going to affect their well-being. The policies that are being put in place are speaking towards academics, they're speaking towards well-being, they're speaking towards fairness, creating a culture so that the student athletes have the best experience as possible.
Good afternoon, soccer fans, and welcome back to the second half of your College of Staten Island Dolphins women's soccer team, their competition against conference rivals Lincoln University from Pennsylvania. Relatively strong half for the Dolphins. They jumped out to a 2-0 lead with a lot of chances, a lot of attempts on net, 10 shots just on goal, not even counting shots off target, and they had 6 corner kicks. However, they did let a goal slip to Lincoln in the last minute of the first half, so it is a 2-1 scoreline going into the second half. And I'm wondering what the tone of the team will be from your home side coming into these final 45 minutes, thinking that they might be angry and frustrated despite being on top at the moment. So potentially home fans should be looking out for an equally, if not more, aggressive second half compared to the first.
Well, I think if you're the Dolphins, you certainly had to have been jarred just a bit by that late goal in the first half and perhaps jarred out of complacency, if there was any sense of complacency with the 2-goal lead. I spoke about it before. Big difference between comfortable and complacent. And the Dolphins with a 2-goal lead had to feel like they were in a great position. Lincoln cut that lead in half with a late goal under a minute to go in the half. They get on the board. And we have a game again from Dolphin Soccer Park. And CSI starting the second half much like they did the first half with some attacking pressure. They look to make something of it here off the left foot of Rodriguez. The shot is saved, but Dolphins did a great job generating shots. You said it, Aaron. 10 shots on goal, now 11 with that last one. But that shot right there was also shot number 20 in the game for CSI as well.
Lincoln are used to conceding a lot of shots. They concede on average 26 shots per game. So this is a very normal situation for Lincoln to be in.
Season high for the Dolphins in shots, 29, back in a 4-goal effort against Bloomfield that we mentioned earlier on September 3rd. Here comes Carrara, wide of the box, had it knocked away, throw in Staten Island. This game, of course, the first of 2 here at Dolphin Soccer Park today. And we'll get a chance to talk a bit more about it during the pregame for the men's game, but you can make the case that the men will see their season on the line today. If they don't come away with at least a point in today's game, it's going to be a tough road back for them.
Big game against the University of the District of Columbia, team much higher up in the conference standings than they are, but definitely a game that they can get a result out of if they can find the back of the net.
2 close games between men's soccer and UDC each of the last 2 years. A loss that I believe came in overtime, and then a draw. The 2 games that Staten Island has played against the District of Columbia in the past. Good news for men's soccer after this is that should they get through today with a draw, perhaps even a win, they have Deauville, the winless Saints, at the bottom of the men's soccer standings right now, and then a matchup with a team they're chasing in Malloy. Dolphins could potentially go from outside looking in to in control of their own destiny. We'll see what happens later as Rodriguez tries another left-footed shot, and she puts it in. Top shelf, upper left corner beneath the bar, and Colleen Rodriguez has given the Dolphins a 3-1 lead.
What a nice finish into the upper left-hand corner. cultured with the inside of that left foot. That is her second career goal after getting her first career goal just last game. So Colleen Rodriguez on a hot streak, and she's feeling that confidence, Joe. She's been peppering the net, and she finally gets one through.
And the Dolphins have to feel good about the rate at which they have scored goals these last 2 games. Obviously, a lot of teams have been able to put up crooked numbers against the Lions this year, but the Dolphins only scored twice against the Lincoln in their first meeting a couple of years ago. They put up 4 last season. And with one more goal, they could make it 4 goals in consecutive games.
Colleen Rodriguez.
Second goal of the season for Rodriguez. Third of the game for the Dolphins. Radavini was looking to make it 4, and she shoots after the whistle. Reyes didn't like that. Can't say I blame her.
Swatted down that shot and then stared her down just a little bit. And I think that's just a symptom of general frustration that the Lions are feeling at the moment. Maybe felt like they had some momentum going into the half with that goal, and now all of that potential momentum is gone.
You said it before, Aaron. We thought that we might see the Dolphins come out a bit more aggressive in the second half after conceding a late first half goal, and you can check that box. The Dolphins waste no time in the second half, scoring less than 5 minutes in.
One thing I can tell you for sure, Joe, is that Isabella Radavini is going to be working harder than anyone else, because despite the positive results for the team in general, she definitely feels like she has more to offer than what she has shown today. So Radavini is going to continue to work her butt off until she has something to show for her hard work.
Can't say I'd be surprised if she were to score a goal in this one. She's been hard at work on the attack, trying to generate shots. Has also sent in a few quality crosses as well throughout this game, setting up chances for her teammates, but the Dolphins, now ahead by 2, have a bit more breathing room once again and some margin for error. We'll see if that translates into perhaps some more aggressive attacking plays. Tie up over the ball here, and the Lions do keep possession. But not for long, as Castro had it on her foot for a moment. It was taken away. Broadnax, the goal scorer, with it. It's chipped in the air over Marr and the Lion. They collided. Marr is okay. She gets up off the turf. Here comes Kolka for D'Amico. Melger crosses midfield. Looking. And had nowhere to go with it. Well, you can't do that. I'm not sure if that ball was intended for the player offsides, but Cosm just watched it sail right past her, had no choice. She was working her way back on sides. Kolka. Melger. Bowie. Looking to play Radavini through, perhaps, but that ball had some wicked spin on it. And the Dolphins earn a throw. Bowie throws quickly. D'Amico. Carrara off her head. Rodriguez there. And she does not get a shot off. Radavini moves in, takes it away, turns, shoots just wide.
Good opportunity for Radavini to find the back of the net. Before that, it was a really nice defensive effort from Grace Quaya in order to work her way across the goal from the left back position and interrupt Colleen Rodriguez, who was seemingly clear through on goal. She's really been the defensive standout for the Lions so far.
And that perhaps was the best chance of the game for Isabella Radavini on that last shot. It came fresh off a takeaway. She quickly turned, and the attacking player ended up down on the turf. That was Quaya, as you mentioned, and Radavini one-on-one with the keeper from a bit of a sharp angle, but certainly a makeable shot for her. She could not convert. Score remains 3-1. Here comes Kolka, and her shot is high.
That's disappointing from Kolka. Not the worst decision to take the shot there, although she did have players across from her that she could have passed to. But she's got to put her laces through that and really find the net. Instead, she got under it and made nothing of that good opportunity.
Dolphins well on their way to a season high in shot attempts. They are at 22 with just over 36 minutes to play. Season high would be 30. And they're absolutely on pace for that. That pass intercepted by the Lions. And the Dolphins get it right back. Melger. Rodriguez dispossessed. Broadnax looking to move forward. Strong on that touch. Looking to turn was Kazem. And ends up on the foot of Brianna Dorr.
One thing you don't want to let these Lions do is start running at your defense because they've got pace, they've got athleticism. And one mistake or one well-placed pass, and you're in danger.
Dolphins have it back in the midfield once again. That ball deflected. It's a foot race. And Radavini forces Proctor to clear it. Really no other option there. The Dolphins will throw quickly. This is Radavini. And she sends one on goal, easily saved. I think the intent there was to find Jackie D'Amico.
Was a good idea with the in-swinging ball. It was the right shape for D'Amico's run, but really difficult pass to pull off.
Dolphins will throw again from the other side of midfield. Albano for Marr. Far side Castro. Kolka. Melger. And Uwe. Uwe, working toward the center of the pitch, was dispossessed, but Kolka was able to sneak that ball through. Carrara, the nearest Dolphin, as it was cleared again by Lincoln, and CSI will throw. Uwe with a strong throw toward the center of the pitch for Kolka, but she couldn't corral it initially. Does get it back, and now Rodriguez facing goal, avoids one challenge. Another left-footed shot beneath the bar, and Rodriguez has another. What a left-footed strike by Colleen Rodriguez, and the Dolphins lead it 4-1.
Unbelievable effort from Rodriguez. Her confidence is at an all-time high, and why shouldn't it be? She's finding the back of the net with ease at the moment. What I will say is that Reyes, the goalkeeper, had plenty of time to get underneath that and prevent it from sneaking under the bar. She will be disappointed there, but Rodriguez will not care. It's her second goal of the game, her third in the last 2 games, and she's the hot hand, Joe. Keep feeding the hot hand, or the hot foot, I should say.
3 goals in her last 2 games now. Here comes D'Amico. Carraro tried to send it right back to D'Amico, but it was broken up. And you could tell once she squared herself up with goal that she was about to fire that shot. And we've seen her attempt some of those long shots in the past. That time she converts.
Well, you know what they say, Joe.
And Radavini is offsides. Reyes, again, not happy. She took that shot from point-blank range on Reyes after the flag and whistle.
Well, Radavini's definitely a little bit frustrated. She wants to get in on the goal-scoring action. But I think she was within her rights to put a shot on net there because of how fast the offsides call came. She definitely had no ill intent towards the goalkeeper, that's for sure.
No, not on that one. Dolphins have it again in the midfield. Kolka for Castro. Castro moving into the attacking third. Sends it back to Kolka. She's under pressure from behind. Gets rid of it. Rodriguez. Melgar for Uwe. Uwe wanted D'Amico. Was dispossessed. And the Lions will clear. Headed by Marr, who is now in a foot race with Qasim. And Lincoln will throw here. No orange jerseys in the area.
Speaking of chasm, Joe, I think you would say that there's a chasm between these two teams right now. 4-1, it's a big lead to overcome. I don't know if the Lions can hang in this game much longer.
Some might call that a Durstism, Aaron. Don't know if you're familiar with the term, but our Sportsnet colleague Nick Durst, a big fan of the puns. So that ball was deflected, and you'll get a chance to work with Nick, as will I, come basketball season. Coming up very quickly. It's hard to believe, but we've been at it for nearly 2 months here on CSI Sportsnet. It's hard to believe I've been back in my role as athletic communications coordinator for over a year now. Coming up on the basketball schedule, opening the season as always, will be our Tournament of Heroes. On the men's side, 4 games, 2 on Friday, 2 more on Saturday. As Melgar will try a shot, and that is off the outstretched arm of Reyes and in. It's now 5-1 Staten Island.
What a goal. Seriously nice turn from Melgar in order to create space. And I think she thought to herself, why not have a shot? She just saw what Colleen Rodriguez did. She fancied her chances. And, you know, Reyes had a good effort there. Big dive to her right, but couldn't get enough of her palm on it. And I think the Dolphins are on the verge of breaking the will of this Lions team. It's going to be difficult for them to continue competing in this competition.
Well, they've certainly broken the score open. Now leading by 4 goals. 5 goals for CSI, a season high. It's also a high for the Dolphins in their all-time series against Lincoln. But as I was saying before, coming up on CSI Sportsnet early next month, men's basketball Tournament of Heroes, Friday, November 10th, Saturday, November 11th. Then once the Tournament of Heroes comes to an end on Saturday, the Women's Basketball Conference Challenge begins. And the Dolphins look to begin another scoring chance there, but flag goes up for offsides. Nick Durst and I will be with you on Friday night on Sportsnet. Then on Saturday, Nick Durst will fill in for me. And Aaron, both you and our colleague Nick Bavona will get on the call on Saturday as well.
Going to be a big weekend.
4 games on Saturday. Unfortunately, I have another obligation that I can't miss. On Saturday the 11th, I'll be here early in the day, help you guys get set up. And then I will be streaming on another network. Unfortunately, I cannot give free advertising here on Sportsnet, so we'll just call it another obligation. Lions have it in the midfield. Taken away by Melgar. Back to Kolka. Set the head to Radavini. This time she's onside. Foot race to the ball, and Reyes dives on top of it. And you know that after a couple of shots that Reyes felt were late in this game, she wanted to make sure she got there on that one.
Yeah, and I applaud her restraint because Reyes had the right to create some contact there with Radavini in order to secure the ball, but she decided not to. So I got to give her some credit for that because there are many goalkeepers that would have initiated that contact.
Kolka. Far side Castro. Now Rodriguez lets it roll. Off the heel of D'Amico. Carrara shoots. And it's saved by Reyes as Carrara made a bid for goal number 3.
Lovely build up there from the Dolphins. Castro finding Carrara in the middle. And Carrara with great awareness of where her teammates are in space. Laid it off for D'Amico. The shot was just a little bit too central, but I don't blame her for taking another effort at range.
Quaya avoids the challenge from Albano. Really nowhere for her to cross it. And instead, she will earn Lincoln a corner kick. First corner of the game for the Lions.
Well, Quaya, who is playing a lot at left back, now seems to be the Lions' right forward. Very versatile.
Perhaps a bit out of necessity, as we mentioned before. Lions short on bodies, just 3 players on the bench, and one of those 3 suffered an injury earlier in the game. That was Brianna Reed. She has not returned. Corner kick, and a flag is up. One of the Lions were offsides.
I actually believe that delivery curled out of bounds, Joe. I think that's what happened.
I thought initially the ball might have landed out of bounds or at some point gone out of bounds, but tough for us to make it out in the corner from up here. Really sharp angle for us, almost impossible to see.
A little quirk in soccer, different from most sports, is that even in the air, if the ball goes across the line, it is out.
Well, then that's certainly what happened, as Radavini once again racing toward the ball is beaten to the spot by Reyes. Takeaway by Rodriguez. Looked to give it up to D'Amico, who was open. And they are not giving Rodriguez an ounce, or an inch of space, I should say.
You know, with all due respect to the Lions and the work that they've put in this season, I would say that for the Dolphins, this game is a bit of an attacker's dream. Just space and opportunities every time you get the ball at your feet.
Well, history is certainly on the side of CSI. First meeting between these two teams, the closest of the 3. That, of course, pending today's result. But if I remember correctly, Dolphins scored their 2 goals pretty early in that game back in 2021. While we have a moment, I can go back and take a look and be sure of that. But if I remember correctly, they scored pretty early and were able to go the rest of the way as Kolka is onside. Chance for goal number 6 here, and Reyes just got a piece.
Wow. Well, the Lions right back, number 14, Justice King, I believe it was keeping everyone onside, and Kolka took advantage of the space, found herself one-on-one with the keeper. Ariel Reyes did a good job of coming out and cutting off the angle. Otherwise, that was most definitely going to be goal number 6.
So going back to the 2021 meeting, as that ball's crossed and past everybody, Dolphins scored twice in the first half, once in the 34th minute and once in the 40th minute. That was it. They outshot Lincoln 19-0, 13 shots on goal of those 19 for CSI, and they won it 2-0.
Relatively comfortable despite the modest scoreline.
At the time, Dolphins won that game. It moved them to 2-7. Dolphins were not yet eligible for the postseason back in 2021. Last year was their first season of playoff eligibility in the ECC. And we got a chance to talk plenty about that in the pregame. But should this result hold, or at the very least should the Dolphins win, they put themselves in a great position. And if I'm not mistaken, they fully control their own destiny, but I'd have to double check on that. With a draw against Queens, we'd have to go to the next tiebreaker. And I think the next tiebreaker is the quality of victories, or your highest quality victory. If I'm not mistaken, that was the tiebreaker last year in basketball. So whichever team defeated an opponent that is the highest in the conference standings, that team would win the tiebreaker. After that, good luck. I'm not sure where we go after that.
That would not be a...
There's a great ball for Radavini, and she is stopped. She goes down hard. And Radavini's still down.
It looked awkward, Joe. I didn't see anything specific that would lead to any major injury, but she is still on the ground.
Now there are players down at both ends of the pitch. And you hate to see this. Radavini down on her knees being attended to by the trainer at one end of the pitch, and we have a Lion down on the other end of the pitch. Didn't see what happened to our right, but Dominique DeVille is the Lion who is down. Radavini remains down for the Dolphins as the clock has been stopped at 23:18. DeVille back to her feet, so that's good to see. Radavini conversing with the trainer right now as she is able to get up under her own power. And I think the landing for Radavini was a bit awkward. She hit the turf hard, but I think the way she went down definitely exacerbated the impact of hitting the turf.
Both players are up and walking under their own power. That's really positive to see. I think Radavini probably will be subbed off. Yes, it does seem that way.
Looks like Taryn Hilke is coming in to replace Radavini. Taking a look toward the CSI sideline. I can't tell if they just made wholesale substitutions or if a bunch of players are hydrating over at the bench. Looks like they're hydrating over at the bench. I was about to say, I think the team in blue was a few players short there for a couple of moments. So it's Hilke for Radavini. That's the only change for the Dolphins.
Opportunity here for Hilke to make an impact. Team's dominating the game. Radavini's had plenty of space, so you'd imagine Hilke will be afforded similar amounts.
I'm not sure if our automated camera picked it up behind the Dolphins' goal, but the opponent from men's soccer has arrived as Hilke, off that redirect, is flagged for offsides. Maybe it's just that position, Aaron. Doesn't seem to matter who's at that forward spot on this wing. Flag continues to go up.
It's really easy when you feel like you have a lot of space to make your run early and find yourself in behind before the ball has been released, but it's all a matter of discipline, Joe. You've got to be able to hold your run until the pass is coming your way.
As I was saying, behind the Dolphins' goal, the opponent from men's soccer, the University of the District of Columbia, has arrived. That game will kick off at 3 p.m. Aaron and I will rejoin you for the McDonald's pregame show at approximately 2:45. And we'll highlight it during that pregame coverage. But for the men, their season very well may be on the line today. They need to come away with at least a point in today's game, in all likelihood. The game they certainly have to have is the last game against Malloy. They are chasing the Lions right now and are trailing them by a couple of points. But we'll go through all of the scenarios when we come back. Typically my rule, Aaron, has been once there are only 3 conference games remaining, you can begin to talk about the postseason. And that's where we're at right now. It's hard to believe that we only have 10 days left in the season.
Flies by, Joe. Flies by. It's not as long as it feels when you first start out.
I think a part of it is that early in the season, we had a very front-loaded schedule. That first week and a half, 2 weeks, we had probably 5 separate home events, counting doubleheaders as one. We had several singles as Kolka threw the shoulder and knocked down Sienna Purnell. I mean, she took her down hard there.
Well, Kolka does have a big frame, 5'7", one of the tallest players on the field. Only bested by Taryn Hilke at 5'11", and so she's been taking advantage of that size of hers all day. Unfortunately, this time she used a little bit too much force.
Initially, I wasn't sure they whistled a foul there. Free kick Lions with 20 minutes to go. For women's soccer, they have 2 home games left after today. As I mentioned earlier, Morgan's Message Mental Health Awareness Day against Goldie Beacom on Tuesday. They wrap up against Malloy on Saturday. As for the men, their only home game remaining after today is against Malloy on the 28th. And that will be senior day for them.
Could be a really huge day for both men's and women's soccer.
And Aaron, I'm inclined to believe that the game on the 28th, at least when the day begins, that game should mean something to men's soccer. I doubt, unless they were to lose consecutive games, that they would be mathematically eliminated before that game begins. Also, that could be dependent on when the other games in the conference begin. This is Hilke, and she goes down along the touchline. Corner kick Staten Island here. Dolphins will also make a substitution. Isabella Castro back into the game. And she will replace Ariel Uwe. Corner kick number 8 for Staten Island.
Dolphins now have a Castro on either side of their defense.
As for the women on that last day, with a win today, I don't believe they can be mathematically eliminated before that last game. If they win this, even if they lose next game, I think they would still be mathematically alive when the day begins on October 28th. So, as you said, Aaron, it's shaping up to be a big day for our season finale.
This win will put them in a very favorable position, Joe. And then later today at 5 p.m., like I mentioned earlier, St. Thomas Aquinas will be playing Queens. That'll be an important matchup with heavy implications on all three teams. So, home fans, be on the lookout for those results on the ECC website.
If you're a fan of the Dolphins, there is no question you are rooting for the Spartans against Queens tonight. That one redirected by Kolka. And it finds the foot of D'Amico, who shoots it off the post. She was about to begin celebrating, and it took a bad bounce off the post, rolled across the goal line, and did not cross.
Wow. I think everyone thought that was in, Joe. Jackie D'Amico's hands are already up. She was starting to wheel away. Great flick from Carrara as well, but luck was not on her side in that moment.
And D'Amico, who had the big game against this Lincoln team last year, nearly added a goal to her stat line here in today's game and made it a 6-1 score. Nonetheless, 5 still a season high in goals for this Dolphins squad. Melger looking for Castro. Castro met by Reyes. Reyes has to get rid of it. And she sends it over the near side. Throw in Staten Island.
Reyes has consistently been aggressive off her line. She's been very good with her decision-making of when to come so far. Have to give her credit for that. Another substitution here for the Dolphins.
It's Evola for Carrara. Meanwhile, the Dolphins now are just 2 shots away from a new season high. 28 total shots, 16 of those on goal thus far. Dolphins will throw in yet again. That one whiffed on by Melger. It's loose. D'Amico couldn't get on it, but Kolka does. Kolka wants D'Amico, who looked to turn and could not. D'Amico tried the quick spin there.
Almost came off, too. Would have been beautiful in the box and set up for a nice shot, but instead she lost possession and also caught a foot on her ankle, I believe.
Well, the next time we'll have a chance to talk ECC soccer, at least during an ECC matchup on the women's side, will be the season finale. So while we have about 15 minutes left in this game, take a look at the conference standings in a bit more detail. Roberts Wesleyan at the top of the standings right now, followed by Damon. The Redhawks much more secure in their spot than the Wildcats are. The Wildcats have Mercy right behind them. However, Damon, thus far, is unbeaten in conference play. They've played just 4 conference games, and they're a perfect 4-0. Meanwhile, Mercy in 6 conference games, they're 3-1-2. Top 2 seeds will get a first-round bye. In all likelihood, either Damon or Mercy will end up as the 3 seed. Both of those teams beat the Dolphins this year, and if the Dolphins were to get in, as of right now, they appear as if they could finish anywhere between 4 and 6 if they were to get in, because they have games left against the current 5 seed and the current 4 seed in Malloy and D'Youville. Both of those teams have 7 points. If the Dolphins beat them both, they could very realistically get as high as 4.
And this game, we've said it in a few different ways already, but this game is a perfect setup for the finale of the conference season for the Dolphins, really helping to expand on their goal-scoring confidence. Haven't been able to consistently put it at the back of the net. They've been scoring just over 1.5 goals per game, which, isn't especially proficient, especially for a team hoping for maybe some playoff success. So this will be a perfect launching point for hopefully a playoff surge.
Dolphins certainly hope that is the case. And if the Dolphins were to finish 4th, and to finish 4th, they would likely have to win out. But if they do win out and defeat both D'Youville and Malloy in their last 2 games, they would host a game here at Dolphin Soccer Park in the first round. And if they finish in 4th, there's a good chance they host a team they've already beaten.
Well, a lot of things have to happen for them to get there, but in that hypothetical, it does sound pretty favorable.
D'Youville also has only played 4 conference games, so by the time the Dolphins see them, they'll have played 5. They're in action later today. As that ball rolls into the box, and Albano sends it over the near side. And that one will skip over the fence and into the parking lot. Goal kick, Staten Island. 11.5 to go from Dolphin Soccer Park. Castro. Back to Albano. Evola. Kolka. And nobody home at the center of the pitch, but Rodriguez now has it. D'Amico. For Castro. Castro could not avoid a challenge. Had the ball taken away, and she takes it right back. Rodriguez in the corner. Sends one along the touchline, and D'Amico could not get there ahead of Reyes.
Reyes was looking at D'Amico there. I'm not sure if there were words exchanged, but Reyes seems to have a little bit of a chip on her shoulder.
Rodriguez couldn't get a piece with the heel, and now the Lions look to head back the other way. Kolka intercepts that pass, and now Rodriguez works along the near side. She finds D'Amico. D'Amico had it knocked away. That was Proctor. Throw in Staten Island, under 10 minutes to play now. Rodriguez, left foot toward Hilke, and Hilke couldn't get there as she shielded off the ball. It'll be a Lincoln goal kick and a Staten Island substitution as Juliana Carrara heads back into the game. And Jackie D'Amico will head to the bench.
At this point, Joe, it's just about resting your important players and making sure that they don't tire themselves out too much for the remaining 3 games of the season. Coach Mendolia talked a lot about the effect of fatigue and what it can do to a team later on after playing a lot of games. You know, it's a very heavily loaded 2 months that the players have to go through. And so when you're coming down to the stretch, you want to make sure that they're as fresh as possible.
Well, as you make that point, Aaron, Dolphins are about to make another substitution. And we'll see, following this next horn, who it is. Marr. Onto the foot of Melgar. She turns, avoids a challenge. Carrara is dispossessed, and the Lions send it out toward midfield.
Nice tackle there from Cosm, number 10 for the Lions. Used her body to get in the way.
That ball cleared off the body of Carrara, chipped in the air. Evola in front and could not get a shot off.
Golden opportunity there for Evola. One-on-one inside probably 10 yards, but her first touch let her down a little bit. Had she had a better touch or even decided to take the shot on off the volley, could have gotten herself on the score sheet there.
Dolphins will send number 18, Kelly Buckley, into the game. Just under 7.5 minutes to play.
Kelly Buckley, defender, listed as a defender on the roster. It's always interesting to see how those dynamics play out on paper versus on the field. Looks like she's occupying midfield position at the moment. 5'7" sophomore from Royersford, Pennsylvania.
Second appearance of the season for Buckley. Got in for a couple of minutes against Roberts Wesleyan earlier in the season. .6:45 on the clock here at Dolphin Soccer Park. This one decided early in the second half. The Dolphins led 2-1 at the break. Very quickly put up 3 goals, separated themselves from the Lions. And Lincoln has not had an opportunity to score since their first half goal. That made it 2-1. Teams trade possession in the midfield. Melgar takes it away, moving in. Avoids a couple of challenges, and Carrara had it knocked away from her. Buckley is whistled for foul, and it's going to be a free kick for the Lions. For those looking for the men's game, we are going to sign off following the conclusion of this game, and we will sign back on with about 15 minutes to go ahead of our men's soccer matchup at 3 p.m. We'll then stay with you through the conclusion of that game between the Dolphins and the Firebirds. I don't think there's any question that this game for the men today against the Firebirds is the biggest game they have played this season.
No doubt about that one, Joe.
As for the women, this win will be their biggest of the season, 4-goal margin of victory, should they hold on and win 5-1 or perhaps add to their lead. Dolphins working the ball east to west. Finally, they move it forward to Evola. She wanted Melgar, and that clearance attempt failed. Instead, it found the foot of Rodriguez. Rodriguez back to Evola. Evola Sends one toward Carrara, right on target. But Carrara couldn't corral it. Ball loose in front of the Lincoln goal. Cleared through a pair of Lion defenders. And now Castro has it for CSI. Just over 4 minutes to play as King dispossesses Evela. King across midfield. Wanted Quia, but nothing but blue jerseys between her and the intended target on that pass. Now Castro across the midfield stripe. We'll play Melgar through. And the shot is saved by Reyes, who once again decisively comes off her line and gets there in time to stop a goal-scoring chance.
I want to give credit to Reyes again because when you've conceded as many goals as she has this game and when you've been under such constant pressure, it's easy to let up on your effort a little bit and tell yourself it doesn't matter, we're losing anyway. But Reyes has been as sharp as ever from start to finish.
Making her first appearance of the season for the Dolphins, Valbona Suma checks into the game, and very quickly she gets a shot attempt that travels well high. Just over 3 minutes to go from Dolphins Soccer Park. Dolphins sitting at 29 shots. That matches a season high. They'll need one more to set a new season high.
I'd also like to point out with this 5-goal performance and their 4-goal performance in their last game, they've scored as many goals in their last 2 games as they did in the previous 8 games before that.
Dolphins got off to an unbeaten start through 5 games, then had a winless streak, and finally snapped that against Stack this past weekend. Dolphins now with 17 shots on goal. That's a season high by a wide margin. Previously, their high was 12. That pass intercepted by Castro. Melgar working her way toward the far side is dispossessed, and it's sent away by Lincoln. 2 minutes remaining. Marr. Carrara redirected, and it ends up back with Van Stralen. That's sent in the air toward Evela, who plays it with the heel nicely, but Carrara was a bit strong on the touch. Suma runs it down and gets it back to Castro. Castro up ahead. Suma. Pinballs around, and it's cleared by the Lions. And I think 2 Lincoln players may have banged knees on that play. I think that's what happened. Both players trying to dispossess Suma collided with one another. And it's been a day that's taken a physical toll on the Lions for sure. Just 1 minute remaining now. Albano for Buckley. Buckley plays to the far side. Van Stralen. That ball sent. Center of the box. Evela there waiting. Plays it with the body, but could not get a shot off. That one cleared into the midfield. Albano waiting with 35 seconds to play. Buckley. Quick turn. Avoids a challenge. Carrara shoots. And her bid for a 3rd goal is saved by Reyes.
That was the record-breaking shot, if I believe, or maybe not record. Well, for the season at least.
A season high in shots. You are correct. That's 30.
9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4.
And that will do it. The countdown from 10 echoing throughout all of Willowbrook. As this game ends with a 5-1 final score, the College of Staten Island takes care of business on their home turf. They defeat Lincoln University. And coming up next, men's soccer will look to make it 2 for 2 on the day for the CSI Dolphins, as they will take on the University of the District of Columbia. That game getting underway at 3 p.m. The McDonald's pregame show will begin at 2:45. For all of our crew here, this has been Joe Foreman. My broadcast partner is Aaron Cohen, our engineer, Tyler Clark. All of us will be back to rejoin you for Game 2 at 2:45 p.m. For those of you who won't be with us, thanks for watching, and we will see you next time this women's soccer team takes the field